If you're a betting man, you're probably going to bet that Gensler is on his last days. Yes, that could be Gensler getting fired. We'll break it all down for you. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. I want to open up here with our sponsor, and that is Coinbase. If you guys want to get started in your crypto journey, start at Coinbase. It is one of the best places to start trading, whether you want to go into maybe USDC and just park it there, or actually go in and get your first Bitcoin or ETH purchase. Just use Coinbase.com. Use our link down below. You get $200 to get started. All right, a couple things that we've been hitting on. As you guys know, we did the hearing video yesterday. It was kind of a part one. They ended up doing a recess, and the recess broiled up, I think, a lot of people maybe talking out in the hallways and got people all jazzed up. And of course, if you guys want to go back and watch the full video, you can go over here and check it out. Yesterday, it was that one right there, so you can kind of catch up to speed here. But I want to jump up to the first clip here, because this will get into some detail of just how crazy this got into. Take a look.
So let me ask Commissioners Peirce and Uyeda their opinions regarding the impact on the agency and staff morale for the courts to consistently rule against the chairman and his hubris.
Staff have put a lot of work in on rulemakings that have then gotten thrown out because we didn't have the statutory authority to do them.
These losses to the agency are devastating. I've been with the agency since 2006. The mantra became never again. We need to be the gold standard in administrative rulemaking. Unfortunately, we've regressed. It is now do what you need to do, that is the minimum required by law. Let's get it out fast. Let's cut corners where we need to, because that is what is the minimum required by law. But that's like saying a D grade is a passing grade in school.
So in your opinion, the SEC under Chair Gensler is no longer the gold standard?
I've served with 6 chairmen. Unfortunately, our condition today in rulemaking, I would say, is below the average.
Wow, look at that. I just freeze framed that there. I mean, look at the stare that Gensler has on him. That is insane. I'm telling you guys, that side by side says it all, and that is that the SEC has failed under Gary Gensler. This is going to go viral, I think. Here's Mark Uyeda going a little bit further as the drama heats up. Take a look.
You have served under both Republican and Democrat leadership?
That's correct.
Below average. Why did you use that word, below average?
We spent a lot of time and effort on decision trees of all the points that were raised in the common file, what decisions they would be, what evidence did we have, and what were the course of recommendations. I was actually told by the staff, well, we haven't prepared a summary, but you can go read the public comment files on the SEC website, which I found just astounding.
Well, that is obviously very concerning. Go read the public comments is dismissive of your tenure and your experience and the knowledge that you bring to the table. What struck me when you said these words, and they're bold words, is that you say them right in front of basically your boss sitting 3 or 4 chairs away from you.
I'm not his boss.
Well, the chairman, you are still the leader of the SEC, and it is under your leadership that the rulemaking is coming out. And when you have one of your fellow commissioners just 3 seats away from you with 18 years of experience saying, hey, we have a problem here, that is something to be concerned about, Chairman.
And sometimes the reason that these things are 800 and 900 pages long is because we summarize all of those comments and pull them into a file that commissioners get.
Reclaiming my time. Would you like to comment back to that, Commissioner Uyeda?
In my experience as commissioner, I am getting, at least initially, some very highly summarized documentation as to what's in the common file. You need to make early decisions as to where you might be thinking and where you land. And that occurs, I would say, if not weeks, months before these proposals ever get fully baked.
When I hear what you're saying, I think highly summarized means little fact or very vague, and it's difficult to make a decision with that kind of information.
The amount of bombshells that were dropped yesterday is just astounding to me. There is no way I think Gensler makes it through his term. And I think this is getting into some pretty heated positions here. There's a no limiting principle that I want to get into, which is very inconsistent with the law around NFTs. Uyeda breaks it down. Let's take a look.
I do not understand is how the SEC appears to be taking the stance that NFTs, these pieces of digital art and collectibles, are themselves securities. The only difference I see is that one asset is tokenized and the other is not.
You can have a person who buys a piece of art and she expects that piece of art to rise in value, but we don't change that piece of art into a security because she expects it to go up in value. And it seems to me that we're doing that on the crypto side, and it doesn't make sense to me because I don't see the parallel on the physical side.
I'm concerned that this is just an extremely slippery slope. Where does it end? The SEC hasn't been able to articulate a limiting principle here.
We had identified what is my primary concern. There is no limiting principle based on what you might discern from the Commission's enforcement actions. I have strong reservations whether that's consistent with the law.
Consistent with the law, meaning that the SEC is just breaking the law, I guess. When you look at this, I want to go into the plan for the SEC because Gensler still sits as the lead commissioner there, and he still directs most of the activities coming out of the SEC. Listen to this next clip. This gets scary.
Chair Gensler, you've stated that of the 10,000 different cryptocurrencies in the market, the vast majority are securities. If that's the case, does the SEC plan on bringing thousands of enforcement actions in a never-ending game of legal whack-a-mole? Because it sure seems like that's the approach that the SEC is taking.
We don't have those types of resources, but you're right about one thing. There's a lot of non-compliance in this field. They're either in jail or they're awaiting extradition. Worldwide market, fortunately, it's not all in the U.S.
I'd like to pivot to Commissioner Peirce for a second.
I've talked to so many people who are trying to build things here, and they don't feel confident, and that's not what we want. We want clear rules, and then we can use enforcement for the bad actors.
Can you share your concerns with how the SEC and the chair has continued to dance around the classification of Ether?
It's very difficult for people to read those tea leaves because we've been pretty inconsistent in how we treat things. And so there's really little for people to rest on. It's not serving anyone. It's not even serving ourselves because we're spending so much on enforcement in crypto that we could be saving by just writing rules and then enforcing them against the bad actors.
Or utilizing that for innovation. And Commissioner Lizarga, do you think this approach is serving investors well?
I do.
All right, so split right now, the commissioners, as you can see, Uyeda and Peirce. Here's where it gets a little bit more nefarious, and that is some backroom deals that were done around SAB 121. Take a look at this.
Earlier today, Chair Gensler indicated he would not rescind SAB 121 in response to a question from my friend across the aisle, Mr. Wiley Nickel. We are now hearing that the SEC's Office of the Chief Accountant is engaging in conversations with some market participants on a case-by-case confidential basis to inform them if they need to comply with SAB 121.
Crypto bankruptcy after crypto bankruptcy, the bankruptcy courts have said it's not the investors, it's the bankruptcy estate. That's what that accounting bulletin is about.
Chair Gensler mentioned earlier it applies to public companies, and that's true. It applies on its face to public companies, but we've also applied it to broker-dealers, and now, as you pointed out, we're peeling it back for particular entities. There was a question earlier about why there's only one custodian in the ETP space, and one of the reasons is because of our SAB 121, which makes it very hard for people to be custodians in this space.
Something's amiss here. This does not look right for the SEC.
Remember, like, when people are trying to hide things and put them off balance sheet, it's not good. Also,
You talk about hiding things, Chairman Gensler. We don't even know what deals you're cutting on SAB 121 when you give a no objection letter to a different firm. Like, if we're going to talk about hiding things, let's talk about transparency. Your commission is doing backroom deals with one-off companies and writing them a no objection letter. That's not transparent. That's not in the interest of the American people. You can't follow rules that you don't know about. What's going on? At the end of the day, the SEC has to read the room. And the entire House of Representatives voted on this, and a majority of members of the House rebuked SAB 121, and the Senate, led by the opposing party, they passed it with 60 votes, including the majority leader. This is not a good look for the SEC. This should go away. This is bad policy. With that, I yield back.
Been in a position now that it's revealed that they were cutting backroom deals. Guess who they were cutting with? Well, they're the typicals out there that you might guess. Let's go to this first clip and you'll see what I mean.
Bank of New York Mellon is moving closer to rolling out custody service for the Bitcoin and Ether held by ETF clients. This is after a review enabled the company to avoid treating the assets as a balance sheet liability. Can you explain what's going on here?
There's no way to know exactly what triggered this or why exactly this happened.
This was all, I mean, this is breaking news as we speak today. The hearing finalizing up, and of course you see all the scenarios playing out where mainstream media is now starting to get exposure to this. Here was Bloomberg Crypto talking about BNY. This was the clip that James Safer was on right there out of Bloomberg. So you look at this kind of situation, and I just try to consider, is this a position now where this is so much political baggage for the Harris campaign? You have to think about this because this is the Biden administration SEC. So is this so much political baggage right now that we are in a position where we could see them go in and absolutely jettison? I don't know. There's going to be a lot of heat coming at them for sure. This is one last clip to kind of go to that point. This is Caitlyn Long talking about this a little further. Take a look.
They're giving special exceptions to the large banks, several large banks, quote unquote. Okay, so how corporatist is this? And Gary Gensler and Elizabeth Warren call themselves progressives, and they have literally done the most corporatist thing that you could possibly do, which is block out all the upstarts, create a rule to try to throw sand in the wheels, and then turn around and say, oh, just kidding, let's give the big banks special exceptions.
Sounds like a spy drama to me, but in reality, it's the situation that's happening at the nation's #1 financial litigator out there, being the SEC. Here's Mark Cuban. He comes in and he says, hey, I talked to the Harris team today. It's amazing how Cuban is right there on the top of the Harris team today, who told me in no uncertain terms they're against regulation through litigation. Hey, well, they need to say it. They need to come out, state the position. The SEC is in the wrong. We're going to fix things, and ask Mr. Gensler for his resignation. That's how it goes. So see ya, Gensler. But one of the things that I thought was interesting, here's Paul Graywall talking about this. Yes or no, do you agree on Vice President Harris's statement that the U.S. should not encourage or should encourage innovating technologies like digital assets? And Paris, of course, came in at yes, Crenshaw, yes, everybody yes, except for, guess who? The guy, Mr. Gensler, of course, comes out with, it depends on who we're doing backroom deals with, I guess. Here's, of course, Wayne Vaughn hitting up on this. This is Stand With Crypto and their rating on Kamala Harris. And you look at where she was prior to yesterday. Now, with all of these things coming out, now we're seeing more to where she is now. Not enough information. So the Harris campaign, again, kind of coming over into crypto, then back out of crypto, not taking a position on this, is really putting a bad look on the Democrats for sure. This was an event being held by Stand With Crypto, and this, of course, is Chainsmokers. And I think if we start to see a viral moment coming out of this hearing, which it looks as though we will see some viral moments coming out of this, this could hit into Gen Z, which gets back to the point of the voters that look at things that are connected to them, which have nothing to do with securities, but in most people saying, well, I go to the Yankee ball game, or I go and collect purses, or I'm a guy that collects, bourbon. Are all of these things now securities? And that, I think, is going to get a little bit crazy. All right, just to kind of show you how this could go viral, take a look at this clip.
From your room back in Boulder, we want to thank everyone for coming out and being with us tonight. Shout out to Coinbase. Fuck Gary Gensler one more time.
I love it. F Gensler, which is kind of interesting. Well, he may be effed a little bit sooner than this right here, which is 617 days before Gensler leaves in this administration, most likely, whether it is the Harris administration or the Trump administration. I think his days are numbered. Gensler being pretty bad, I guess, as a bad actor from the SEC. There could be a scenario where we have a dark night rising, and that right now could be floating in around the things that are happening in the predictive markets. Polymarket continues to explode on growth. We're seeing a lot of that, and I want to play a clip for you that will surprise you a bit, I think, around the CFTC. Take a look.
The Commodity Futures Trading Commission announced this summer that they're monitoring Polymarket and other offshore crypto betting platforms. Chairman, thank you for coming in today.
Thanks, Becky.
These are markets that we definitely keep an eye on, and these predicted type markets have been around for a long time. You could bet on just about everything. Maybe it's better than some of the polling that you see in some places. What What's wrong with what these platforms are doing potentially?
These markets are illegal under current law. These are all illegal, not all states, but this is illegal under most states in the country.
One of the reasons I like the betting sites is because I don't believe that a lot of the polls. So there's no way.
You're 40 days from an election. What's going to happen? How are you going to do anything this time before this election? Because we're looking at these sites on a regular basis.
We're going to bring an enforcement case.
What could you do? Could you shut them down? Is that fines? I mean, this is civil.
It's both. On one hand, it's certainly fines on the civil side. There could be a criminal element to it. And then there's the deterrent factor, right? If we can levy enough fines, depending on the scope of the allegation and the charges, that perhaps is going to put a company out of business.
Let me ask you this. The announcement and the investigation itself, has that acted as a deterrent? Have you seen any change in behavior?
I think with the court challenge, there was a court decision by district court a few weeks ago. We appealed. This is the position of the commission. We're not going to back off of it. And Congress did give the CFTC authority to make decisions about public interest.
All right, come on. This is crazy. He's going on national TV, on a financial network, and making statements like that. Just so we are clear of this, he lost this case, and the judge put in the statement, and Congress did not authorize the CFTC to conduct the public interest review it conducted here. So this is absolutely false. Kalshi is going to be, I think, of course, good to go. You're going to see Polymarket become legal. All of this has been pretty much ruled on in a court of law, and I think this is just a situation where the CFTC doesn't like the result, and that's the problem. Don't forget, we did a full breakdown on this. This was the full judge video that we produced almost 11 days ago. There you go, 11 days ago. Go back, watch this video. It's a full breakdown of this very issue, and this could be one of the things that scares me a little bit more, is that Mr. Behnam could be our new Gary Gensler in shining armor, not in a good way, for sure. Other things that are happening, of course, is maybe a token launch. If this happens, woo, talk about degens. We are going full in for degens, and that would be if Polymarket actually launches a token. So we'll keep all of that for you guys. We'll get you more data, more information, but the only way you can get any of this stuff is subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button right now. Jump into the diamond circle. It's linked down below. And of course, follow me out there on X at Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.